Welcome back to my inner sanctum. I am your hostess, Countess Elizabeth, mistress of the macabre. When death is all around, why do so many people gamble their lives for the ultimate thrill? Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world, and some people jokingly say it is a challenge to climb, but even more of a challenge to climb it and never tell a soul. Today's tale, we'll go on a journey to one of the most famous graveyards in the world, the Death Zone. Now let us get on our hiking boots and meet me at base camp, where we will explore our grotesque curiosity. The Death Zone of Mount Everest is any part of the peak above 26,000 feet, and over 200 climbers have died there, hence what is called the Death Zone. But if you don't like how dramatic that sounds, some people prefer calling it the Rainbow Valley. Well, that sounds lovely, doesn't it? The Rainbow Valley. But it is only called that because of the blue, red, orange, and green colored jackets scattering the area worn by fallen explorers. There are so many explorers that came to climb the mountain and never left. So many bodies that will never be recovered. Other than bodies, there is also colorful garbage, such as dumped tents, cans, and oxygen tanks. From a distance, the color of the frozen corpses and the garbage clash with the white snow, seeming so colorful like a rainbow, hence the other moniker for the Death Zone. The Death Zone refers to the altitudes at 8,000 meters and above, where the pressure of oxygen is insufficient to sustain human life for an extended time span. The oxygen level is so thin in the Death Zone that the oxygen available is only 1/3 the normal oxygen level. In the Death Zone and higher, no human body can acclimatize. The body uses up its store of oxygen faster than it can be replenished. One mountaineer says climbing Mount Everest feels like running up a treadmill, but breathing through a straw. In the Death Zone, climbers' brains and lungs are starved for oxygen. Their risk of heart attack and stroke is increased, and their judgment quickly becomes impaired. An extended stay in the zone without supplementary oxygen will result in the deterioration of body functions, loss of consciousness, and ultimately death. This is why people who climb Everest tend to take oxygen tanks to survive. Sean Beck Weathers, a former mountaineer who lost his nose and part of his hands and feet when climbing Everest in the deadly 1996 season, said of the experience, "If you're willing to put a round in the chamber of a revolver and put it in your mouth and pull the trigger, then yeah, it's a pretty good idea to climb Everest. And if somebody's having problems on the mountain, it's a common practice to just walk by them and keep on climbing." People are somehow able to walk by these bodies and continue climbing by rationalizing to themselves that whatever happened to this person will not happen to them. Some, however, are not able to continue climbing. In 2010, Geert van Hurrell, an amateur climber from Belgium, was making his way up Everest's north side when he came across a colored mass on the ground. Realizing it was another climber, Van Hurrell quickly approached, eager to offer any help he could. That was when he saw the bag. Someone had placed a plastic bag over the man's face to prevent birds from pecking out his eyes. "It just didn't feel right to climb any further and celebrate at the summit," Van Hurrell says. "I think maybe I was seeing myself lying there. I guess the guy he found was dead, because his story just kind of ends there." Most people don't stop to help for a couple of reasons. The first being that they too might become exhausted and die from lack of oxygen, but also because the body begins to freeze and become heavier. On one body recovery, a Sherpa named Dawa said he was around 6 feet tall, but was over 264 pounds due to the snow and freezing. It took us almost an hour just to move the body. The oldest body found in the Death Zone is that of explorer George Mallory, who went missing on a 1924 expedition. According to Mallory, reaching the highest point on Earth served as a symbol of man's desire to conquer the universe. But when a reporter asked him why he wished to summit the deadly Mount Everest, Mallory snapped, "Because it's there." Little did Mallory know, he had in his mind a deadly obsession. On June 4th, 1924, Mallory and his climbing partner, Andrew Irvine, left the advanced base camp and set out on their own. According to the porters left behind at the camp, Mallory was certain that the pair would be able to summit the mountain and make it back to camp before nightfall. He was wrong. The two climbers disappeared that day, and it took 75 years for anyone to find Mallory's body. Irving's body was never found. Mallory is still on the mountain to this day. His death is attributed to a fall. Among the most famous body in the Rainbow Valley is known as Green Boots. Green Boots is the name given to an unidentified body of a climber that became a landmark on the main northeast ridge route of Mount Everest. He died in a limestone cave, now known as Green Boots Cave. The body has not been officially identified, but he is believed to be Swang Paljor, an Indian climber who is one of 8 people who died in a blizzard on an expedition in 1998. Though it is not confirmed it is him. People attribute this body to him because he was wearing the same brand of green mountaineering boots the day he disappeared, while Green Boots was thought to have been moved by a Chinese expedition in 2014. The body has been spotted as recently as 2017. Back in 2006, though, Green Boots gained a companion in his cave. A British climber named David Sharp was discovered huddled inside of Green Boots Cave on the brink of death. Sharp's demise was not too surprising, as his whole preparation for the adventure was not really the best. When Sharp prepared his expedition, he decided to go on a solo ascent. He didn't hire a Sherpa or go with an expedition group. He did not even have a radio to call for help. He ran into bad weather, sought Green Boots Cave for shelter, and began suffering from altitude sickness. The fear Sharp felt as he sat closely looking at the body of Green Boots must have been intense to know that he too will soon join him. After the discovery, the media criticized climbers for not helping Sharp. According to the media, 40 other climbers walked by him as he died. Maybe people didn't see him, and maybe they just didn't stop. But it is incorrect to say that nobody tried to help him. It was also unlikely anyone even knew he was actually there. He went solo and told no one he was going to summit the mountain. A group of Sherpas who stopped in Green Boots Cave came across Sharp. According to Dawa, Sharp's condition was shocking. Legs just like wood, face already gone, black. The Sherpa pulled long icicles from the climber's nose and unzipped his down jacket to feel his chest. Sharp's trunk was icy cold, an indication that hypothermia and lack of oxygen had almost done their work. It appeared to Dawa that Sharp had spent the night in the deadly cold. "We feel very bad, but we could do nothing there," Dawa said. "It was very hard. If half a dozen fresh Sherpas had been on hand, they might be able to have dragged Sharp to the high camp some 2 hours below. But Sharp's legs were frozen stiff. Dawa and Temba, who was another Sherpa in the group, were exhausted. Each time Dawa moved, he felt as if there were a knife between his ribs. The Sherpas agreed to leave Sharp and continue on. Sharp's body was removed from sight a year later at the request of his family, but as mentioned earlier, Green Boots continues to remain on the mountain along with countless others. Well, that was a truly grotesque tale. There are so many other explorers who died on Mount Everest, and I would love to talk about them, but maybe that's a tale for another time. So many instances of man's ego and determination to run headfirst into danger. As explorer George Mallory said, reaching the highest point on Earth served as a symbol for man's desire to conquer the universe. Thank you for watching my video. Subscribe, like, and share if you would also like to keep exploring our grotesque curiosity. We will meet again in the darkness of the night.